Good afternoon, Jo Pybus. Thanks for joining us here at Yellow Shelf.
Oh, hey Joe, thanks for inviting me. I'm super excited to be here.
Jo, you're the host of Alex the Seal podcast. I was just sharing with you. It was last year where I was referred to an episode, a running joke I had with a girlfriend about denim on denim. And your
Yes.
podcast is, let's just say it's about music, it's about reminiscing. But I am going to hand it over to you to tell us all about it. What do we need to know?
Wow. Okay. So the podcast is called Alex the Seal, and I guess the name is quite cryptic, admittedly, and you'd be forgiven for thinking it's a show about aquatic mammals, but it's not. In fact, Alex the Seal is a podcast about 70s and 80s music nostalgia, because these were the formative decades growing up for myself and my co-host, of course, the incredible Sandy Sandman Shag and Wagon Lowries, also known as just Sandy Lowries, if you don't want to use her rather long moniker. But anyone that listens to the show will know that I have a lot of fun calling Sandy that. And of course, we both grew up in the 70s and 80s. We just loved listening to the music on our radios and watching Countdown on the ABC TV on a Sunday night, which was Australia's legendary pop music show from the time. And then, of course, on the show, Alex Cecile, Sandy and I talk about all the songs that got us hooked up, knocked up, and broken up. So that's our sort of a mandate to stay within. And there's plenty of songs that fit that description for us. Now, each episode has a theme, of course. So you just talked about one of the episodes that we call Double Denim. And we've had episodes called Unrequited Love Songs or One Hit Wonders or Duets. But of course, the very first episode of Alex Cecile was called Lost in Translation, where we banged on about all the songs we sing the wrong words to. Of course, misheard lyrics. And that, in fact, we didn't even know at the time. We now know that's known as a mondegreen. So, an
Yeah.
episode about mondegreens. And so, in each episode, we'll talk about songs that fit the theme and we'll take a deep dive into the history of the song and the performer. And we've actually come up with some, blow your mind facts, things that we didn't know. For example, did you know that Billy Joel wrote Uptown Girl about Elle Macpherson, not
Oh.
Christy Brinkley, who appeared in the music video and became his wife? So this is the mind-blowing investigative journalism that we have going on here. We find out all this stuff. We also unapologetically sing a few lines of the songs we're presenting just to sort of help our listener tune into the song. We don't always remember a song by its name. And look, it comes with a warning, Joe. We're actually pretty good. So, yeah, be prepared, people. Be prepared. Buckle up, we like to say. So, Joe, in a nutshell, Alex Cecile is a nostalgic romp by two midlife chicks who are stuck in a time warp eating Chico rolls. We're drinking chocolate Big M. We've got big hair, fluorescent clothes, and we're listening to awesome music.
Well, no wonder I'm joining you because I'm definitely part of that. And yeah, you mentioned Sandy. How did you and Sandy meet? What was that? What was that? Because the banter is incredible between you both. So I was wondering, was it previous careers? Like, how did you come
Yeah.
together on this one?
Yeah, look, Sandy and I didn't know a lot about each other from the moment we started the first episode. In fact, in the first season, each season we sort of overlay each episode with a season question. And the season question for our first season was to tell each other something that we didn't know about each other. And it gave us a chance to get to know each other. But Sandy's involvement came after she actually interviewed me on her podcast. I was doing some midlife women menopause awareness advocacy, and her podcast is called The Good Girl Confessional. Do yourself a favour and check it
Oh,
out.
I
It's brilliant.
have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. And after we recorded, she asked me, what are you up to next? And I told her about my idea for Alex Cecile and really needing a co-host for the format that I wanted to work. Well, she put up a hand quicker than a first grader who knows the answer. Because as it happened, Sandy had aspired during high school to be a music journalist, and she even went and did work experience at Eon FM, which is a radio station in Melbourne. So between that and my youthful aspirations to be the lead singer of a rock band, no less, we turned out to be the perfect match, and it was just, yeah, match made in heaven.
Yeah, and the dynamics are beautiful. Joe, do you want to tell us a little bit? You mentioned about your work You've got other work that you do. So tell us a little bit about you, Jo.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I guess how did this all come to be? Look, up until my late 40s, Joe, I'd owned an IT training business with my husband, raised three kids. I'd done all the school committees, fundraising, Saturday sports that come with that.
Yeah.
But I'd also been a keen cyclist and triathlete. So late 30s and 40s, I represented Australia a few times in those
Oh,
sports as an age group. Yeah, so I had this sort of sporty spice thing going on. I was a short order chef for my family, just looked after everything for everyone. And then about 6 years ago, in the throes of perimenopause, a time in a woman's life that is crap,
yeah.
um, my more physical aspirations were needing to be modified. And
Yeah.
look, honestly, this creative side of me just emerged and I became a writer.
Mm,
And yeah, it was just bang. It was like out went the estrogen, in came the writing.
wow.
So within a couple of years, I was really getting into it. But then, of course, this creativity collided head on with COVID and the
Yeah.
pandemic. And, and I found myself sort of metaphorically rolled up in the corner in a fetal position with each doom and gloom news broadcast. I'm sure many people can relate to that. And I soon learned to turn off the news basically and replaced it with just playing on repeat all the hits I grew up with. And I'd look, sing along quite loudly,
Yeah.
much to the delight of my family, you can imagine. And before you know it, the playlist came up with the Go-Go song, the 1981 hit
Yeah.
Our Lips Are Sealed, that I remembered fondly because it was a famous misheard lyric, particularly here
Yes.
in Australia, that we'd all sing along to it. And so I had this light bulb moment of realizing how much joy I was getting from my music nostalgia and that I could share that joy on a podcast, which of course just had to be called Alex the Seal, because if you haven't worked it out, that's
Yes.
the misheard lyric from
Yay.
Our Lips Are Sealed. We all
Yay.
sang Alex the Seal, and we still do today. So yes, I think we've had some people have that light bulb moment of remembering that, and then some
Yes.
people have to ask, and that's okay. We're all
Yeah.
getting older. We don't remember everything. So yeah, and that's how it all came about.
That's brilliant. And do you know Belinda Carlisle? She's in Australia at the moment, I think, or was in Australia. You need
Yes,
to get
yes.
her on the show. This is like a
Oh,
dedication. Imagine that.
oh, I know. Look, I of course I just told you I've been overseas, so I've
Yeah.
missed the opportunity to see
Yeah.
her. We've had lots of online banter with the girls, and
Oh,
yeah,
that's
and look,
great.
we've reached that a few times. It's often difficult. We
Sure.
have, you might have seen that we do occasionally have a guest on the show,
Yes.
and we've got to speak to some amazing people in the
Yeah.
music world and journalism here in Australia, like Miff Warhurst and Brian Nankervis and Ross Wilson and
Yeah.
Paul Field, who was the lead singer of the Cockroaches that we all loved back there in the 80s. So yeah, but no, definitely. Oh God, we'd love to talk to them. But they, of course, they think it's hilarious because they
Yeah.
remember being on Countdown and Molly Meldrum, our mentor and love.
Yes.
We pay homage to Molly every episode.
Yeah.
Um, he told them all about. We called the song Alex the Seal. There's, a YouTube clip on it. So it's just hilarious. And yeah, we have lots of fun.
It is a great backstory, but it's also a great podcast, Joe.
Thank
So tell
you.
us what's the best way to connect with you if we're watching and we're curious? How do we connect to you or to Alex the Seal? I'll put all this in the show notes. Let us
Yep.
know.
Great. Well, look, we're easy to find on all your podcast platforms, everyone. Just search Alex the Seal. And on Facebook and Instagram, search Alex the Seal Podcast, and you can follow us there and see what we're up to. And you can find me personally on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn under my name, Jo Pybus. And yeah. Come and join the community. We have lots of lovely comments from people and to
Yeah.
bring back lots of wonderful memories.
And you're absolutely right. It's memories galore. It's fun, and it's definitely it's an escape for me that I listen to every comes out a couple of episodes a month. Is that right?
Yeah, it's interesting. We do a format of a season, 7 episodes a
Yep.
season, and then we have like a 7 week break. So I guess in essence, we have one every fortnight on average. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Joe, thanks for joining us. Keep podcasting because I'm going to keep listening. And you never know, Belinda Carlisle might just join you one day.
Oh, we can only hope. And thanks so much for having me, Joe. I just love what you're doing with Yellow Shelf. And I've already started following a number of podcasts through listening to
It's
your
my
show.
pleasure.
Just
It's my
brilliant.
pleasure to share the show. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome. Thanks, Joe.
Bye.